Main screen turn on. For this first episode, I want to talk about a character who is often considered the mascot of fighting games in general, from Capcom's Street Fighter series, Ryu. Section 1. A brief history. Ryu made his debut in the arcade game Street Fighter, made and released by Capcom in 1987. He is the only playable character in the game, and in it you beat 10 opponents after each other to beat the game. If a second player joins, he'll play as Ken, who is other than appearance an exact copy of Ryu. Its sequel, released 4 years later, would follow the same formula, but tweak it to levels which made the game immensely popular and an inspiration for many other series to follow. Street Fighter still has games released these days, with the most recent being Street Fighter 4 in 2008, and Ryu remained a staple character, including the many spin-off and crossover games from Capcom, where he can typically be found in as well. While not having his games released on Nintendo platforms as early as Snake, or in the same amount as Sonic, I feel that his roots to Nintendo lie deeper, due to having been part of the original console war with Sega. If not, his history in the fighting genre gives his inclusion enough credibility. Section 2. Movement, Mobility, and Moveset. I'm using the 360 version of Super Street Fighter 4 Arcade Edition to show what Ryu can do and how it could translate to a Smash game. Purists might call me nasty names for not using one of the many Street Fighter 2 games, but I own none myself, and while I am not exactly a Street Fighter encyclopedia, if his attacks and movements do differ from game to game, I'd assume it's slight enough to still be able to draw comparisons. Fight! Okay, to start out with, these are the animations of Ryu's stance, his walk, and his dash. To my knowledge, there is no running in the Street Fighter games, but I'm pretty sure something could be figured out for that. When on the ground, Ryu can do a light, medium, and fierce punch, and a light, medium, and fierce kick. When done close by the opponent, the attacks change a bit, as you can see here. I'm doing them in the same sequence as before. His fierce and medium punch also have two different moves when using them when moving forward. Again, in the same order as before, these are the moves he can do while he's crouching. In the same string, only now in a neutral stance and a moving stance, these are his aerial attacks. There is also a grab with a forward and backward throw. So all in all, a nice variety of moves. Let's see if we can fill in the move slots with these. To immediately mix things up, my idea for the neutral ground combo is to use a part of Super Jam Fighter Mini Mix's Mighty combo, the Rephu Jinrai Xiao, which consists of a light punch, another light punch, and a close medium punch. I figured that for the dash attack, since there is no such thing in the Street Fighter game, the forward medium punch would be best suited. Moving to the tilt attacks, for the forward one I would suggest the close fierce kick, for the up tilt the close fierce punch, and for the down tilt the crouching fierce punch. Going to the smash attacks next, the forward one I would use the forward fierce punch, and for the down one the crouching fierce kick. As for aerial combat, for the neutral attack the light kick should be used, for forward the forward medium kick, for back the fierce kick but done in a backwards motion instead of forward one, and for the down attack a light punch. The more observant viewers might have noticed that I haven't included a up aerial or up smash attack. This is because there aren't really any in-game attacks that have an upward movement, so I can't show anything that could be used for these attacks, other than making something up myself. Anyway, on to something easier, the special moves, with the neutral one having to be the Hadouken, obviously.
Hadouken!
For the side special, I want to show a move that is in Street Fighter 3, but also, and from where I'll show it, Marvel vs. Capcom 3, the Yaudon Sokutugeri, a powerful kick with huge amounts of knockback. For the up special, we're going back to Street Fighter 4, Shoryuken. Alternatively, as a custom move, it could also be the super jump, as shown here in Marvel vs. Capcom. You could even have the trophy description say he trained himself to jump this high to catch flying superheroes, as a reference to the Marvel vs. series. Then finally, as the down special, the Tatsumaki Senpukyaku. And as an alternate custom move, the stationary instead of the moving version. Or, again from Street Fighter 3, the parry, since half of the Smash forecast also has a counter move. As for the final smash, there are actually a good amount of options here. It could either be the super combo of the Shinku Hadouken, the Metsu Shoryuken, or the ultra combo of the Metsu Hadouken. However, I think the Shinku Hadouken from the Marvel vs. Capcom series is most fitted for this move. Now for some miscellaneous stuff. His block animation for when he uses his shield, his stun animation for when his shield is broken, and his knockdown animation. As edge and floor recovery moves, he should probably use some variation of his crouching kicks. As seen before, he already has a grab, forward, and backward throw, though a downward and upward would have to be made up. But as a pommel, the close light punch could be used. As an entrance animation, I would like to see him punch through a pre-placed brick wall, a la the intro of the first Street Fighter game. As a victory pose, to fuel some controversy, he should punch out a black guy like in the Street Fighter 2 intro, and of course the classic, you must defeat Shanglong to stand a chance, alongside a pose that mimics the original victory portrait. As well as the animation of the original Street Fighter's minigame, where a shirtless Ryu smashes some bricks. And opposite of winning, his losing animation would be that of Street Fighter 2 as well. Only with less blood, I suppose. To wrap it up, as taunts he should use his entrance and victory animations, shown here as they appear in Street Fighter Alpha. Section 3. Alternate colors. Now, we could be boring and go with the already established alternate colors from Street Fighter 2, but I suggest for something more interesting. Give him the Bowser Jr. treatment by having his palette swaps be other characters from the Street Fighter series, namely the Shoto clones, as they're called. Let's take a minute to compare Ryu's sprites from Street Fighter to Kansas again. This is the both of them from Street Fighter 2, plus Akuma. In the next row, the previous 3 and Sean from Street Fighter 3. Finally, from the Alpha series, white, red, black, and Dan Hibiki in pink. And just for good measures, here's those 4 again, but from Pocket Fighter, as well as Go Hibiki, Dan's dad. See a pattern here? They're already mostly recolors. Other options would be high schooler Sakura, who idolizes Ryu and uses his moves, though using her would need her design to be tweaked a bit. And there's also Evil Ryu in both his Alpha and Street Fighter 4 incarnations. Some might cry foul play at the thought of other characters being merely palette swaps, since in the series they hail from they do play slightly to significantly different, and I suppose they'd be right. However, to all you naysayers, I show to you the following: custom moves and equipment. For example, if we compare the Hadouken of Ryu, Kansas and Akuma's, and especially Dan's Gadouken, You will see they differ in power and distance traveled, not to mention appearance. Custom moves could easily fix this, and make it so that someone who wants to play Ken with his actual moveset can do so. This might mean that Ryu should get more custom moves than any other character, but I don't think this should matter. Actually, he should also have different final smashes, since Akuma really needs his Raging Demon as one. Stat-wise they also differ, with Akuma for example being faster and stronger than Ryu, but he also takes more damage. But like I said, equipment. They could easily put something like Demon's Gi in the game, which fills up 3 slots if need be, but recreates the Street Fighter stats into this game. Perhaps even add bonuses to buff or nerf certain moves. It could also allow you to mix and match appearances, stats and moves to create the ultimate Shoten you always wanted to play as. Section 4. Stages. There's quite a few options here. First of all, from the various stages of Ryu himself that have appeared in the Street Fighter series. For example, his Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter Alpha and Street Fighter Alpha 2 stages. Another possibility would be a Thailand stage, since the finals of the first game in the franchise took place there, and many variations have followed since from which elements could be borrowed, as seen in the Street Fighter 2, the unusually small Street Fighter Alpha 2 and Street Fighter Alpha 3 versions. But the most logical would have to be Bison's stage from Street Fighter 2. It's the last one in the game, and where the player faces the final boss, but its elements also lend itself best to make it interesting in terms of Smash's gameplay. It has a roof making upward eliminations not possible, and I think it would be interesting if the statues at the sides, which are breakable, actually have to be destroyed before being able to launch opponents off the stage from there. A fun thing that often happens in the stages of Capcom's fighting games is cameos from the company's other series, and the same should happen in this one. The obvious choice would be other characters from the Street Fighter series, with Bison himself being a top pick since it's his stage, but I feel Eagle would be a pretty good one as well, since it was the Game Boy Advance upper port of Street Fighter Alpha 3 that returned him as a playable character to his original series. Going with other characters who also appeared in Capcom vs SNK 2, there's Maki from Final Fight 2 and Rolento from the first 2 games of the same series. Another one from a different crossover game, Tatsunoko vs Capcom this time, since that one had its home console exclusive release on the Wii, is Zero, preferably in his Mega Man Zero incarnation, since that series was also Nintendo exclusive. There's of course many franchises to choose from other than Capcom's crossover titles, but I think Nintendo exclusive games would be the most interesting. So just to throw some more ideas out there, Phoenix Wright from the Ace Attorney series, Zack and Wiki from the Quest for Barbatos' treasure game for the Wii, Varan and Onyx, the bad guys from the Oracle games of the Zelda series, and PNO03's Vanessa Z. Schneider from the fabled Capcom 5. As a joke stage, there could be a grass field with rain in the background from the opening of the first Street Fighter Alpha game, since the N64's Smash Bros. Also spoofs this. It could be a bare basic stage called Super Smash Bros. Alpha. Section 5. Other additions. Another important Street Fighter character is Chun-Li, the strongest woman in the world and the first playable female character in the fighting game genre, and it would be a crime if she wasn't included as at least an assist trophy. She is known for her powerful legs, so she should kick the opponent around a bit before finishing it off with a spinning bird kick and lightning kick special moves. As an additional stadium game, Car Crusher should be added. Even though it doesn't originate from Street Fighter, this would be playable in every game in the series that had bonus stages, and I think it'd be fun to use Nintendo characters here. There could even be different vehicles for specific characters, like go-karts for the Mario characters, the Devil Car from Mother for Ness and Lucas, and the fabled truck for the Pokemon characters. And finally, to wrap this video up, new events. First one would be the World Warrior, named after the first game in the Street Fighter II series, where you fight the Shoto clones, or at least just Ryu, in a stamina match. Could be either with a character of your own choice, but might be neat if it's a Little Mac exclusive event, since health bars are used in his games as well. Second one should be called 2 Turbo, based on the name of the second SNES version of Street Fighter II, where you play as Ryu and take on Sonic, Fox, and Captain Falcon in a free-for-all with the speed increased. And the final one, called Shanglong, based on the previously mentioned win quote, where you have to hit every member of the roster with a